Hello everyone and welcome to Talk of Good Gamers match review of West Ham United 0, Manchester City 2 as the full-time whistle has just been blown at the London Stadium. A disappointing start by West Ham, but a good start if you're a Man City fan, and in particular if you're an Erling Haaland fan as well. I'm going to briefly go through the highlights, a limited highlights from the 90 minutes, and have a little discussion about the game overall and a couple of individual players as well. West Ham got off to a really good start. It lasted only 2 minutes, but it was a really good start. We took it to City from the off, got a corner, really lovely ball in from Fornals off the back of the corner. Antonio, a half chance at best on a really difficult header to do. But while it didn't trouble Ederson, it was a very promising start. I thought, hello, here we go. We're going to have a pop at Manchester City. This is what I was hoping to see. And then it sort of just stopped. There was no more of that. It was going to be good for 2 minutes and 2 minutes only in the first half. We sort of retreated a little bit. And defensively, we looked okay. But, they were bringing up the statistics during the half and stuff, 15% possession. Soucek didn't touch the ball until 12 minutes into the game and whatnot. Now, I don't necessarily mind not having possession, especially against a team like Manchester City. Fine, they're going to have the majority of the ball. I accept that. They are a world-class team. They're world-class players. They're difficult to play against. But it's when we had it, albeit very limited, but when we did have the ball, we didn't really do much with it. It was a bit like just hopeful ball forward, long hopeful ball forward, and there wasn't really anything coming off, and it was just coming straight back at us. And I think that's what frustrated me the most. But they did make it 1-0 in 36 minutes. Lovely through ball to Haaland, who just tore away from Ben Johnson. Areola comes out, doesn't get anywhere near the ball, gets Haaland's feet, a stonewall pen. There's absolutely no complaints about it. Really good finish from Haaland from the penalty spot as well. And I'm reluctant to blame Areola too much. Is it Areola's fault? Well, technically, yes, he commits the foul. But against 90% of the strikers in the Premier League, Areola will get there first. Haaland is just absolutely rapid. There's various points of the game where over a 10-yard stretch, when he gets up to his full speed, you just see how quick he eats that ground up, and you see it for the second goal as well. And I think it just catches Areola out just how quick he is. Really good, well-taken penalty from him. And deserved lead by Manchester City at this point. And we went in 1-0 at half-time. But I have to be honest with you, it felt like a bit of a trading match for Manchester City in the first half. If we'd gone in 0-0, I'd been fine with it. I would have said, right, we're keeping our shape well, we're defending deep, we're making it difficult for Man City to break us down. But Man City didn't really need to break us down. They were 1-0 up at halftime. And I just felt quite disheartened, I guess, a little bit underwhelmed with our first half performance. I felt there was one or two players that really putting in the desired effort. And I just felt, and this would continue into the second half of the second half, so the last quarter of the game, it just felt a little bit white flaggish. It was almost like, oh, you're too good, we're not going to come near you because you'll run round us. But they were doing that anyway. And it was just a bit disappointing not to see more in the first half. But we went in 1-0 down. You thought, well, we've got plenty of options on the bench. The disappointing thing was that Fabianski went off injured in the first half as well, which is not ideal. I know it's the goalkeeper. I know people prefer to see Areola. But it's another injury that we've got to contend with. Anyway, second half comes around. The first 5 minutes of the second half, I thought it just continued on. And, we were sitting off them. We were just... one or two players would go and press, and they would just pass it about before you know it, they're in our half again. But we started to perk up a bit. On the 50th minute, or roughly around about the 50th minute, we started to press a little bit higher. We started to push Man City. Gundogan made an error, which gave the ball to Lanzini, ended up with Declan Rice having a decent chance from the edge of the box, which he should do better with. He blazes it over the bar. But it was good. It was encouraging. I thought, here we go. Now we're getting up at them. Made a couple of changes. We brought on Scamacca, we brought on Soucek Ben Johnson, and another 5-10 minutes. We were playing some decent football. I thought we were starting to have a little bit of a go at Man City. We were doing it conservatively. We weren't throwing bodies forward, but we were starting to get on the ball. We're starting to move it well. We were using Soufal, who's always hugging that right touchline. We were giving it out to him, and I thought we were starting to look a little bit encouraging. Like we were starting to pose a little bit of a threat. I think after 15 minutes in the second half, we did as many passes as we did the entire first half. But then Manchester City made it 2-0 and just completely killed the game. Any enthusiasm we had, any opportunity that we had was just completely sucker punched out of us. when Manchester City made it 2-0. And we were on the attack to some extent. We lost the ball. Rodri got it. Turns, simple enough pass into Kevin De Bruyne, who's now facing our defence. Fantastic through ball. But this speed Haaland shows is just ridiculous. Now, could Kurt Zouma do better? Well, he should be. I mean, when you watch it back, he's just jogging around. He's not really bothering. His position is not the best. Haaland just runs right between Johnson and Zouma. Johnson's running as fast as he can. He just gets nowhere near Haaland. Through and goal. Lovely composed finish past Areola. It's just, the guy is just a monster. I mean, we've seen it in the Bundesliga. What is it, 86 goals in 89 games or something like that for Dortmund. We knew he was going to do this, but wow. But from a West Ham perspective, it was just frustrating because we were starting to get going a little bit and it just felt easy. And then from that point on, you know, there was still half an hour to go. And it just felt like we just paid City too much respect. I didn't feel there was much challenges going in. That pressing, high pressing that we saw for the first 15 minutes of the second half, it just disappeared completely. And it became a bit of a training game for Manchester City, I felt. You know, towards the end of the game, started having a couple of pot shots from distance, like some Rodri and Grealish having efforts when they probably wouldn't do it if it was 1-0. They were just passing it about. We couldn't get near them. We were just chasing shadows for the last half hour or something. And it was just a bit disappointing, really. So my overall thoughts are that I'm glad that Man City's out the way with, and I'm aware our season isn't going to be defined by how we play in today's game or the result of today's game. I would have just liked to seen a little bit more from us. I don't think we really laid a glove on them. And I don't mind getting beat, especially to someone like Man City. I can accept getting beat to teams with world-class players like that. But I just didn't really feel that we were at it today. And if you were to watch that game and the game in May, which 10 of the starting 11 from May were starting today, the only difference, and it was quite a major one in fairness, the only difference was Ben Johnson playing instead of Craig Dawson. But that performance back in May was a lot better than what we've just seen today. A lot harder working, a lot more creativity, kind of threat. We had City on the ropes a few times back in May, but today there was none of that. And I just felt it was a little bit underwhelming, actually. Probably, like I said, it was just probably new season optimism creeping in, if you like, and it just got sucked out of me pretty quickly. A reminder of how good City are, but also perhaps a little bit of a reminder is how far we've still got to go in the transfer window. You know, Moyes speaks about how he wants 4 new players, and it seemed not drastic, but you thought, wow, okay, we're still going after all these players after we've signed Cornet. Well, watching today and looking at the bench and who's on the bench, you think, well, yeah, we probably do need 4 new players. There was 1 or 2 encouraging performances for West Ham, but I would suggest not much more than that. I think there's probably 1 or 2 a little bit more concerning than encouraging. I thought Scamacca, when he came on, looked decent. I know it's a bit of it feels lazy to say it because it's a new signing, but a couple of times he went in and he had that little bit of aggression that I felt that we were lacking. In the first half, there was a few high balls getting put forward. We weren't really contesting them. City were winning them easily, getting the ball down and coming straight back at us. But in the second half, when we had Scamacca up there, he was winning the first ball on a couple of occasions. And if he wasn't, he was making himself known to the defender. He had that little bit of grit about him that I felt we were lacking throughout the pitch. You were to sort of write down how many decent tackles went in from us or that. And you could write on one sheet of paper. There wasn't many, but Scamacca probably done about 3 of them himself. Put himself about well. His header, which was offside, really good header, fantastic save from Ederson. It was encouraging. I thought it was encouraging. I think in regards to sort of the not so good, I thought Soucek was really poor today. Usually, this is the games he doesn't. So, these are the games he usually does okay in because there's not much required from him in regards to being creative. It's because we can play counter-attacking football. It's almost like the defensive side of Soucek shines, and I don't really see that today. There's a couple of good challenges going in, but largely not very good from Soucek. Bit concerning. I thought Ben Johnson, you could tell Ben Johnson's not a centre-back today. I thought at times some good moments of defending, but other times you could just see he's not a centre-back. It's not his fault because like when we did the build-up show and the team lineups come out, I've got little sympathy in the way of the centre-back situation because we've known Aguero's been injured for 2 or 3 weeks now since that Rangers game. We've known he's going to be out for a while. We've known that Diop would like to leave for quite a while now as well. The Dawson injury, yes, it's new in the sense that he played last weekend. However, he only played an hour after being out for 3 weeks of pre-season as well. We knew Ogbonna wasn't going to be fit for quite a while now. It's been obvious Ogbonna's still got a little bit to go in terms of rehab and getting up to fitness to play in the first team. So this centre-back situation, while it's unfortunate, it's certainly nothing new. It's not a surprise that we're lacking number of centre-back. So my sympathy only runs so far in regards to today. But Ben Johnson, unfortunately, the one that's probably been thrown under the bus a little bit in the sense that he has to play there. And I think he was struggled a little bit, which is understandable when you're playing against one of the best strikers in world football. It's hard to say much else about the other players. Not good enough to summarise, really. I thought Fornals worked hard, but didn't really offer much. I thought Ben Rama came on, and that was possibly one of the more frustrating things. I thought he kept getting in good positions and kept getting the ball out to him, but nothing. The deliveries were poor. Soufal's deliveries were poor. I was a bit disappointed by him. I still do have high hopes from Soufal this season. A couple of times he was in opportunities to cross it, even more so when Scamacca was on the pitch, but they were getting cleared by the first man with the feet of the first man defending for Manchester City. So overall, disappointing performances. But to summarise for Disappear, I'm not angry. I'm not changing my prediction. My prediction at the start of the season was we'll finish 8th in the league. It's just a prediction. That's all it is. My prediction hasn't changed because we got beat by Manchester City. It shan't change. I shall leave it as that. I expect to see a different West Ham next weekend against Nottingham Forest. I'm confident we will see a different West Ham. We'll see new players. Scamacca might start. Cornet is now available. We might have signed somebody between now and then as well. The players that were involved today, I would expect better performances from some of them. So I'm not worrying about the long term. But in regards to the 90 minutes we've just watched, not great, disheartening, underwhelming. Was expecting a little bit more. I'm unsure what the word is. I just felt we were quite easy to play against today for Man City. I don't really feel like they got out of first gear. I felt it was a bit of a glorified training session for them. And I don't like that. I feel like it's a bit white flaggish. Roll over, hammer our tummies tickled. All hail the world-class players. Thank you very much. Back to Manchester you go, and we'll focus on Nottingham Forest next weekend. And I don't like feeling like that after a game. Like I said, if we get beat by Man City, fine. But I want to come away thinking Man City had to really work for that. Didn't feel like that today. I remember getting beat by Man City at the Etihad. It might have been the season before last. We got beat 2-1. And I remember being happy with the performance. I thought we played really well in that game. We were just unlucky. But stark contrast to the feeling today. So anyway, I guess the season starts next week is what's going to be trotted out a lot between now and then. It's going to be the season starts here. The season starts here. Probably true. But like I said, it's a few more questions and answers perhaps from today's game. But like I said, we will always go back to the whole it's Manchester City as an excuse. But it doesn't really, I don't think it justifies the lack of heart we saw from some of the players today and the lack of tactics and threat that we carried on Man City, because we can play against teams like this. Man City is one of the few teams that will allow us to play counter-attacking football. And I didn't see that today. And that's what I'm most disappointed about. I thought Bourne was relatively quiet today as well, which was disappointing because I think he looked good in pre-season, finished the season in unbelievable form. He's got the World Cup coming up. He's going to have to work hard to stay in Gareth Southgate's squad. A bit underwhelming today with Cancelo and a booking for the second half. He didn't have to make a tackle. It was a breeze for him in the second half. And I think that's what I'm most disappointed by, just the lack of grit from us today. Anyway, if you enjoyed this review somehow, please do drop a like on it and subscribe to YouTube Hammers Chat. And I'll catch you tomorrow.